years for this, and we've been teasing you all night. You were talking to Roy Keane today, Ken?
Yes, and he's obviously doing a bit of work at the moment for ITV and that, not directly involved in football, which must be pretty much, I suppose, the longest break he's had with a lot of downtime since he was about 16 years old.
Well, it's been a break, but I've still been doing a few bits involved, and I still have a family, so I can still be fairly busy. But yeah, in terms of intensity, I've been involved in football, and it's been nice. I've enjoyed my bit of freedom, shall we say.
How do you fill your days?
But honestly, there's always something to be doing. I feel fairly busy. I'm enjoying my freedom. I have children, I have a dog, I have commitment to 1 or 2 media. I've got friends in Manchester we'd like to meet up. No, but you'd be surprised.
Any former footballer friends?
Yeah, loads. Oh, yeah. 1 or 2 lads that live in Manchester. Keep in touch with Nicky Butt. 1 or 2 of the lads abroad. I've been to 1 or 2 matches recently. No, trust me, there's plenty to be done.
I remember you were here a couple of years ago and you said, someone asked, would you do a bit of media work? And you said, I think I'd rather have a proper job. So, I mean, how are you finding it? Does it have aspects of a proper job?
Yeah, it has, because it's certainly tougher than what I thought maybe. But I'm doing a little bit for ITV, and I'm grateful for it. I'm doing obviously a few matches, but that deal takes me up to obviously just the summer, and I'll take stock then. But I don't know. I don't see a long-term future in it for me, because ideally, if I want to stick around involved in football, then I think hopefully back into management for me.
Do you get competitive about punditry the same way as you did about football?
I know. Listen, you still can. If you think you didn't do a good job, or if you don't think you've prepared properly and you've made mistakes on the TV, because what I'm learning again, if you do slip up or you say the wrong thing, then what you find, particularly on live TV, you get heavily criticised. Everyone's a critic. So I've got to be. Again, your pride kicks in, and you want to do well at it. So I've got a few matches left with ITV. I've obviously got to do the cup final and the Champions League final, and yeah, you want to leave a good impression, I suppose. Was there
an example of that recently that you said?
There's loads of things I've said wrong. Just sometimes you get tongue tied, you say the wrong thing, you can't get a word out, or sometimes you predict the wrong result or whatever it might be. So yeah, you listen, I've got my pride, and if you make any big mistakes, then obviously people let you know about it.
Do you envy Gary Neville? He gives a kind of almost a lecture to the nation every morning.
Yeah, I don't think obviously Gary's role is slightly different to mine. Obviously Gary's with the Sky, and they're on obviously a lot more. I'm only after Champions League and FA Cup games, so I think that would be difficult what Gary has to do. But from what I hear, he's doing quite well at it.
Does that deal include Euro 2012?
Yeah, I've got to do the European Championships. So and after that, I'll take stock where I am then.
Will that be Ireland matches?
I think I'm doing a few of the matches, yeah, but I'm not going to the matches. We're just going to be based in Warsaw in a studio, which I don't know if that's going to be good or bad. So hopefully, I think we'll be covering 1 or 2 of the Irish matches, which would be good, of course, because obviously you'd have a bit of interest, well, more than an interest. You obviously wanted to do very well.
What was the last match that you went to, kind of not for TV? Do you remember?
Tuesday night I went to watch Barcelona and Chelsea. That was just on the way down when I was working for ITV on Wednesday for Madrid and Munich. So I went there just to watch the game. I was lucky enough to get some tickets. So as I said, sometimes you go and watch matches that you're not working at, and trust me, it's a lot more relaxing, because again you're not sitting in a studio and standing on the sideline with a shirt and tie, and you can just go casual.
Did you enjoy the Barcelona match? I mean,
brilliant, yeah, fabulous, yeah, brilliant match. Listen, I love going to watch top teams performing.
Can you empathise with Guardiola walking away from that team?
Yeah, 100%. I think, listen, to talk about the pressures of doing TV stuff, listen, your manager Barcelona, he's there for 4 years. Massive pressure to win every match, to win Champions League games, to win the league. He's had 4 years there. He's won about 13 competitions, and I think sometimes maybe a lot of managers do have that bit of a break. I think there's always a fear factor. If you have the break, you can't get back into it. But of course, when you got a record like his, you'll get a job pretty quickly.
What was the last Ireland match you saw at the match?
I've not. What, live?
Yeah.
I've not seen an Ireland match since I played. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I've been to watch a rugby match, Ireland rugby, but not the soccer. No, again, I can be funny like that. Obviously, when I left Ireland, I was disappointed, but of course I came back, and under Brian Kerr we didn't qualify. But no, the same with United. No, I just try and keep my distance a little bit.
But I mean, a lot of guys go to watch their old teams from time to time? You might have some fans sort of saying, "How you doing, Roy?" But
yeah, not strangely, not with Ireland and United, but I'd go back. I've been back to watch Forest once, twice, and I've nipped up to Celtic. But
why is that? It honestly seems kind of strange to me that you wouldn't go.
I think probably I would have thought certainly go back to Forest. I'd go back and see lads I'd known, and it's a bit more low key, shall we say. But I think about back to United, if I can't watch an Irish match, I think it might get a bit messy, maybe in terms of, like you're saying, people saying, "Oh, hi." Sometimes you just want to be a bit more discreet than that.
You don't think in Poland you might be heading out to Poznan, maybe putting a few grand behind the bar, getting the fans? It's worked for
buying their love, you mean?
It's worked for some people.
I'm sure it has, yeah, but you don't need to buy people's affection, do you?
You would see it in those terms.
Yeah, of course.
You actually have you encountered John Delaney since what happened 10 years ago?
Well, yeah, because when I came back playing for Ireland, I came back, obviously people again tend to forget that I came back, played when Brian was the manager, and again we probably should have qualified, obviously slipped up against Israel and even France, but no, I've not. Yeah, I've come across them in hotels, but we've just literally obviously passed each other.
Not said hello?
No.
If he had said hello?
Yeah, I would have been polite enough, of course, yeah.
I mean, I do have to ask you about this 10 years sort of anniversary. Do you have any advice this time in terms of preparation, things that could be done better?
I'm led to believe obviously things are a lot more organised now, as you'd expect with the manager of Trapattoni's experience. I think the fact the tournament's on our doorstep, which helps, but no, I have no advice to give anybody. Again, hopefully there was lessons learned.
Is it something that you now look back on with regret?
No, of course not. Again, I go back over it. The issues I had were not necessarily the facilities or the treatment of the players, which had been going on for donkey's years. Was the fact I was accused of faking an injury and missing an international match, which is obviously nonsense.
I mean, at the time I thought that you were completely in the right, but now I think you should have just played anyway. No,
well, it doesn't matter really what you think. You weren't there at the time. You weren't an international player. You've not played at the international level, and you hadn't had the frustrations I had, and you hadn't been accused of faking an injury, so what you think doesn't really matter.
It doesn't really matter, but I wondered if you'd ever thought, maybe if I'd put up with that, I would have played in the World Cup.
I'd put up with a lot, and it nothing to be put up with something. I'd put up with a lot of stuff since I was 15 when I was selected for Ireland, and I didn't jump on the bandwagon when I was 22, 23. So no. Again, hopefully, I think you're missing the point here in the sense that the reason I missed the World Cup is because if a manager's going to fake me accusing of injury in front of all the players, then he'd better back it up, and that's the reason I played. So I didn't play sorry. But remember, I played the '94 World Cup, and my priority always when I played for the team was to give my best and not to be putting up with any nonsense.
What specifically is so bad about being asked to fake, or being accused rather of faking the injury in that case?
I'm surprised you're really asking that question, because I pride on myself on going out and doing my best, and if anything I played with a lot of injuries, so for you to ask that question, pretty strange. Yeah, very disappointed, yeah, but there you go.
How do you think we're actually going to do in this Europe?
Hopefully they do well. Priority, obviously, you got to get a result in the first match against Croatia, and hopefully we will do.
Okay, listen, right, thanks, man.
That ended rather abruptly, Ken?
Well, actually it didn't. It was, I thought it was going to have a bit more time there. And if we'd had, maybe if I'd known it was going to be that amount of time, I might have got into some of that stuff towards the end a bit sooner. But
it sounded like you weren't quite finished, and then suddenly it all hurt us too.
Well, we were. The thing was, for the last 2 minutes of that, there was, obviously Roy Keane was here for the Shades campaign for Irish Guide Dogs, and they're doing the Shades campaign next week. I think it's the May 7th it starts, and it's in Tesco stores, I believe. And they were very helpful with their time. But you may have noticed Roy Keane popping up around the media today. So we had quite a lot of different engagements, and the Shades people were very good, I suppose, to get us a bit of one-on-one, but I thought it was going to be a bit longer than it was. For the last 2 minutes of that, he's kind of making cut gestures. Finish. It's got to,
Don't ask him.
We've got limited time.
Don't ask him what's such a big deal about being accused of faking an injury.
So that was slightly dumb phrasing, I have to say. I mean, it was. Still though, it is possible to imagine someone reacting differently to something very insulting that was said, rather than kind of throwing out the baby with the bathwater, as it were.
Tell me what happened when you asked the question. We've heard it, right? So we're all, in our mind's eye, we're all kind of picturing you standing arm's length from Roy Keane. Not that much space between you.
Well, we were sitting, actually.
You were sitting?
We were sitting kind of, yeah.
His body tenses when you ask that?
Just the brow kind of knit together. with that sort of appearance of, when the phone went off in the press conference that time.
Yeah. What colour are his eyes, Ken?
His phone is that. They're kind of a very dark blue, verging on black.
Do they get blacker as the question comes out?
The pupils, I suppose, may have dilated. Ger, I'm not sure. I can't say. They do say that if, there's a sort of an emotional reaction in the brain, then the pupils do dilate.
There's a bit in The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo where the news journalists look down on the sports journalist for asking how did it feel. But I'm sorry, I have to ask. You go, so what's the big deal? Why couldn't you play in the World Cup, Roy? Which is pretty much what you asked.
Yeah.
And he starts to stare at you and the pupils dilate.
Well, I mean, I think it's a pity. Obviously, it's something which when he talks about, and there's going to be plenty more about this, by the way, in the papers tomorrow, because he also spoke to the daily newspapers, and obviously they'd kill me if I was to reveal any of the stuff that he was to say to them. All I can say is check the newspapers, because there's going to be more detail on that. But it is something that he obviously still gets angry about, and there's the faking an injury thing is one part of that, I suppose. But, there's obviously... I mean, I can't imagine how he doesn't look back on it with regret. I suppose maybe you have to tell yourself, I don't regret my decision because it's my decision, I have to live with it, and, I'm not going to think in those terms. But, he was our best player, we had a good team, and he didn't get to play in the World Cup, and we didn't do as well in the World Cup as maybe we could have if all this hadn't have happened. So, I mean, to me it's regrettable. But to him not.
Although I don't really believe that it isn't, because it kind of sounds like the anger.
I don't want to suggest that he didn't tell the truth in that interview.
No, I'm not saying he's not telling the truth. It's it's that line about it's not a lie if it's the truth to you, but actually,
we can invent our own realities.
Well, that's the point. If after all this time he still feels the same way,
what is truth?